Hey guys, it's Brian from Arrowhead Garage, and today on Firebird Friday, we're starting the painting of the 1967 Pontiac Firebird 400. And we're doing something different, or at least I'm doing something different. I've never used single stage paint before. I've always used two-stage paint on all my vehicles, and so talking to Mike over at Lake and Lodge Garage, link down below for his channel, he painted his 67 Firebird with single stage paint from Summit. So I went to Summit, and again, not sponsored. They had to pay for this. They didn't send it to me for free, so it's not a promotional thing. But I went with Summit's single stage paint for the 67 Firebird for mine, just like Mike did over at Lake and Lodge. So we're going to find out just how good this single stage paint is painting the fenders on our Firebird. So with that, I think we get to getting these fenders prepped, put some paint in a gun, and let's see if we can find out. So like I always say, let's stop the yapping and let's get to wrenching on this week's episode of Firebird Friday. All right, guys, so the audio is just trash. The air compressor going off all the time. You didn't pick up hardly anything anyone said. So I'll do some voiceover, and I hope you guys will be cool with it. First thing I did right there was I used a little bit of glass cleaner to wipe down the fender. First thing I usually do for everything. Go ahead and wipe it down. And then I come back with rubbing alcohol, and I got it in this spray rig here. And if you want one of those, you can run to Harbor Freight and grab one, or there's a link down below where you can grab one on Amazon. Same thing, just go through, wipe it down. I want to make sure the surface is clean as possible before we shoot paint on this. All right, go. So the first fender, Brandon wanted to shoot it first. He had some stuff to do, so we went ahead and let this rip. This is the Summit single stage red paint. This has been the first time since the summer that I had shot single stage paint. And so I went by what the manufacturer says Summit. They tell you a 4-to-1 ratio. So 4 parts paint, 1 part activator. And because we're out here in Arizona, where it's the middle of October and it's like 92 degrees. So we had to use the slow activator just so we could lay down some paint. And we just noticed no matter what settings we use, change air pressure, change fan, flow delivery, we were picking up a slight orange peel every time we went ahead and painted, whether it was myself or Brandon. So it was kind of frustrating to watch it happen. It looks good from, 10 feet away. So then here's Brandon putting down a second coat. And it looks nice, but again, you get within, a few inches of it, and you can definitely see that orange peel popping out. But we were not going to let that deter us. We want to at least get some paint down on these fenders just to kind of get our feel before we bring the whole car in and really start to do things. I want to dial it in. So working on Brandon's technique. He's never painted a car before, so I was kind of coaching him. Keep your trigger down, go all the way to the edge, come back, keep it flowing. You want to keep it about, 3 or 4 inches off the panel there because of this purple Harbor Freight gun. And did a great job. The kid has come a long way in the last 6 months. So he went ahead and finished up his fender, and then it was my turn. So let's go ahead and mix up some of this Summit paint here. And Mike over at Lake and Lodge Garage is who turned me on to using a single stage paint. Oh my goodness. I think I had way too much cigar and alcohol that day. But I really liked it. It's good stuff. And for the price point, I think it was $130 for a gallon. And then the activator was like 45 some odd dollars. But little tip here to not spill your paint everywhere. Go ahead and build yourself a spout. Take a few pieces of tape and just put a little V on that. So watch me here. And that way when you pour your paint, you're not going to splash it and pour it and drain it. It's going to be everywhere if you don't do this coming out of one of these 1-gallon containers. I am using the disposable cup system. This is my first time using it since I purchased it this summer. Louie and Jonathan turned me on to using this system. So much easier to clean up. So much easier. So here we go. 4-to-1 ratio on this. So I've got to have the readers be able to see what I'm doing, because as you get older, kids, your eyesight tends to go. So be prepared for that later in life. All right, go ahead and we'll get this kind of pinched here. That when I pour it in, it will not be everywhere and make messes. Give me a stir stick ready to go. Make sure that's stirred up a little bit. Good, good. And we had stirred this up several times throughout the day and closed it up. But again, me being me, just wanted one more shot at it. Okay, here we go. There's my 4-to-1 spot. Am I doing this a second time? There it goes. Pouring it in. And up to that number 4. Looking good. See how easy that was? And didn't spill any paint anywhere. Put the top on for the moment. Grab our activator. And we're going to fill it up to the number 1 line on this 4-to-1 cup. Go ahead and pour it in. Get it here. Super easy to do. If you've never painted before, it's easy. You can watch mine, Jonathan's, Louie's videos on painting your car. Super easy to do. All right, then I made a little adjustment. I went ahead and grabbed some Tractor Supply reducer. And even though it didn't say it on the can there to use a reducer, I kind of thought I needed to. So I poured a few extra drops in there, probably about 2 capfuls to this ratio, and just to see. I later learned that, yeah, in this situation with single stage paint, you really need to reduce it down to 1. So it'd be 4 parts paint, 1 part of the activator slow, and 1 part of also of Summit's slow reducer. Kind of all ties in together. So go ahead, and I've ordered an extra can of that and some fisheye reduction. Again, thanks to Mike over at Lake and Lodge Garage. So let's see how this lays down. Here we go. All right, so my first pass, I'm like, okay, want to lay down a decent first coat of this single stage. So here we go across the front of the fender. Kind of have to get your legs just right to where you can make that stretch across, back and forth. And again, it laid down really good except for that orange peel. Now, there was less orange peel. And so Brandon and I were talking about it, and he's like, what'd you do different? And I'm like, I didn't change anything on the gun. All I did is add a couple capfuls of the reducer. And that's kind of where we're like, okay, we need to thin out this single stage paint before we lay it down any further. So I went ahead and just finished off this first coat of the red, getting it laid down, and it looks pretty cool. Came back in to do a second coat on it. Had a little bit more paint in the jug, and I thought, well, let's just go ahead and get it out and lay it down. So here comes that second coat. And again, yes, I'm using the purple gun from Harbor Freight. It's the same gun I used back in 2016-17 to paint my 67 Porsche. As long as you set this gun up correctly, it does fantastic. Ask Louie over at First Generation Garage. He swears by it. I did buy one of the low pressure, low volume L500 paint guns, and we just didn't like it. Both Brandon and I were frustrated with it. I ordered a second one just to see if I had a dud. The same way. We just did not like how it laid stuff down. So in the box it went. I went and grabbed the purple gun, cleaned it up, and it's what we're using. We're going to use it for the rest of this build. I'm tired of buying guns and dealing with all that drama. So as I finish off this second coat here, starting to run out. Go ahead and lay down a little more. And yep, I was like, yep, I'm out. Son of a biscuit. Go mix up a little bit more. Just needed a little bit more. Went ahead and just finished off the fender here. Getting it, making sure that I get underneath the wheel well area and back in behind. Getting this down. and looking nice. Everyone agreed that came by the house on Sunday just how pretty that color is going to look on the car. And it is going to look fantastic. Now we're going to have to wet sand the orange peel out of the two fenders, but I think we can live with it, and we may shoot one more coat once we have the reducer from Summit in this weekend, but time will tell, or we may just cut and buff these two fenders and move on with life. Not 100% sure what direction I want to go. If you have an opinion, I would love to hear it. Make a comment down below. Tell me what your ideas should be. Should we sand off the orange peel, shoot one more coat of paint, or should we just go ahead and cut and buff and move forward on the fenders? Yeah, comment down below. I'd like to see and hear what y'all are thinking. All right, so that ended it for me. I just about out of paint, so I went ahead and decided to clean the gun up. And just so everyone sees, it's the same old gun with that factory 1.4 tip. Now, I do have a 2.0 tip. I bought a second gun, but that's enough. So we let these bake for a few days, and I wanted to come out here and kind of show you. And you can definitely see there is orange peel in this very first fender we did. Kind of seeing that light right there. Ton of orange peel. Here's what I learned on painting single stage paint. Nowhere on the can did Summit tell me that, see, that was a little bit better, but nowhere on the can did Summit say that I needed to put any slow reducer in the can or in the paint. So after doing some research, and like I said earlier, that adding a little bit of reducer makes a difference apparently. So now we're going to use this reducer, but I just ordered some Summit reducer. It should be here sometime this week. We're going to do a light buff on this, or sand I should say, and then depending on what you guys think, should we sand it and then buff it out, or do we sand a layer down and reshoot it? But there were several spots that were pretty darn good and pretty clear. A little bit of pitting and got a bug right there. But I think overall, it looks nice. But again, I think adding that reducer is going to make that orange peel go bye-bye, bye-bye. We will find out. So we have more to paint. We still have the hood to paint. It's covered up, ready to go. So I think this weekend, oh, and we have to paint our little inserts here. So next week, we're going to shoot this and that to dial in this gun before we hit the bird 100%, pull her in here, put up all the plastic all the way around. That way we're nice and perfect, not going to get any overspray anywhere else. Little things like this, we were good right here, but we're going to do a car. We're going to need some space here. So I'm looking forward to putting some red on this puppy, and we'll deal with these a little bit later. But hey, what do we know? Now, I know a lot of people like to give the old Harbor Freight gun a bad rap for being a $10 or $15 paint gun, but like I said, I've used this one probably 2 or 3 times in the last 10 years. I painted the 67 Porsche, painted some other little things with this gun, and I like this gun a lot. It's not the gun, it was the way we mixed it. So, single stage paint. You make sure that you do that 4 parts paint, 1 part activator, and 1 part reducer, and make sure you match it up with your temperature. For us here in Arizona, it's still 90 degrees here in the end of October, and it is what it is, guys. So slow reducer for us on that. We're going to sand these down, and either we're going to repaint or buff. Remember, you're going to leave a comment down below, kind of give us an idea, and then we're going to try out the new mixture on that hood next week. So I'm going to get everything cleaned up and ready for next weekend, and you guys have an amazing weekend. Thank you for joining me. Remember, tonight, live at 5 o'clock Arizona time, 7 o'clock over there on the East Coast time, we're doing a live with Jonathan, Mike, and Louie. Make sure you join us tonight. Until then, guys, have a good one. And keep on wrenching on those Firebirds.